Long gone are the days of Robbie Lawler and Roy McDonald staring each other down in a welterweight title fight. Last night, Belal Muhammad defeated a boring champion in Leon Edwards. Belal Muhammad, not the most exciting fighter. Also in the main event of UFC 304, Tom Aspinall defended his interim title. Is he the best heavyweight in the world? Bobby Green dove into a triangle like that pretty much. He just dove straight into it against Paddy Pimblett. And of course, Muhammad Mokaev is now sayonara, sucker, not in the UFC anymore because, well, his shenanigans are crazy. So before we get into this episode, who do you think Belal Muhammad should fight next? Sound off in the comments and let me know. Is Belal Muhammad the next boring champion? That is what's on everybody's mind, and probably rightfully so. He's not the most intriguing of fighters, and if you go back and look at his record, it's decisions pretty much all the way down. You have the Sean Brady knockout in round 2 back in 2022, but before that, let's look. See, in 2019, he beat Sato via rear naked choke. Then decision. The eye poke against Leon Edwards. Maya, decision. Wonderboy, decision. Luke, decision. The Brady fight. Gilbert Burns, decision. Now, Leon Edwards, decision. Doesn't look good for Belal Muhammad on being a fun welterweight champion. We haven't had welterweights had this problem for a long time. Even before the Robbie Lawler and Johnny Hendricks era, we had George St-Pierre. And as great as he is, and we know how great George St-Pierre was, he's not the most exciting champion. He got a lot of criticism back in his day for jab and grinding performances. We had Tyron Woodley, who put on stinkers after stinkers against people like Wonderboy Thompson. Kamaru Usman literally stomped on the foot of Jorge Masvidal. He couldn't get the title fight just because he wasn't exciting. Then you had Leon Edwards, who decisions everybody too. You obviously got the great knockout against Kamaru Usman, but he laid an egg in that fight too. You know? And then the Colby Covington fight. Like, yeah, now we got Belal Muhammad as the champion. It might not, it might be another boring run. That is the case unless our next contender, Shavkat Rakhmonov, comes up. I'm being critical of Belal here in the past, but I will say I was very impressed with his performance against Leon Edwards at UFC 304. He fought well. Leon didn't fight good at all, and Belal Muhammad fought well above what I expected him to do. Gotta give a shout out to James Edwards on the pre-fight show. He predicted Belal Muhammad would win. I was like thinking to myself, like, man, that's, you probably see it in my face, like, wow, James, that's bold of you to pick Belal Muhammad over the anti-wrestler Leon Edwards. Belal already beat Stephen Thompson. But yeah, I was impressed, you know, a lot of the cage wrestling that he did. There was one cool moment in the fight where Belal Muhammad had him against the cage and Leon is doing his traditional anti-wrestling stuff. You know, he's turning his back, fighting the hands, and turning into Belal Muhammad. So Muhammad's like, okay, you're using the fence to post up, so here's what you do. When you're going to turn into me, so you'll watch, I don't remember what round this was actually, but when he goes to turn into him, Muhammad switches to a single leg. He pulls the leg out and takes him down. Ryan Wagner pointed this out on X, to where Belal Muhammad did a good job of chain wrestling, and he did his camp with Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev, right? So he does that, and you can tell the difference. He's not just grinding against the cage, hoping to get a takedown, and if he doesn't, oh well, and if he does, great. No, he's switching. He's chain wrestling. He's going to the back. A very, very good performance from Muhammad. His striking, still garbage. But that jab, on point. It was on point all night. It was hurting Leon Edwards, and Leon fought stupid. He really did fight dumb. They had that moment where he's like this. He did this a couple times, like, oh look, I'm hiding behind my arms. You're not gonna be able to jab me. And Belal's like, okay. And Leon acted like he was surprised by that. Like, dude, you're covering your eyes. You can't see. What do you expect? It was mind-numbing from Leon Edwards. And I don't know if that was the pressure of Belal Muhammad, because Muhammad brought a lot of pressure to this fight. Don't let me talking bad about Leon Edwards take away from the fact that Belal Muhammad did in fact fight good, because he did. He fought very well. But man, Leon put on a stinker, and that's part of his fighting style. Leon's not going, he fancies himself as a, listen to me, fancy, like I'm actually a UK guy, right? He fancies himself a smart fighter, a clever fighter, and he's a very clever fighter. But a lot of times that leads to inactivity. It leads to him kind of, okay, this round's not quite going my way, but we'll make sure it happens and it works. And he ends up giving away rounds. And that's exactly what happened in this fight. He gave away too many rounds. One too many rounds, he would have won the fight. Like that 5th round when he busted up Belal Muhammad's nose in at the end of the round, like everybody's like, oh, that might have won him the round. Like Muhammad controlled this round the entire time. A lot of people are saying, you know, they felt like Leon could have won that fight. And I get it. I mean, we like Leon Edwards sometimes. He's a fun, no, I won't even say he's a fun fighter. Belal Muhammad's not a fun fighter either, though. So, yeah, great performance from Belal, man. I won't say a fantastic or amazing performance, but he fought very well. Switching up on the wrestling, chain wrestling, you could tell a lot of the time he spent with Khabib and Islam really paid dividends, because you saw a lot of that stuff. You saw him trying to ride the legs, you know, kind of scoop under. Didn't see too many of the Dagestani handcuffs because Leon kind of denied that. In another thing, like, we're going to take a tangent here for a second. Like, I was really looking forward to Islam Makhachev versus Leon Edwards. I don't think we get Islam versus Belal. I don't see that happening at all. So I was looking forward because I wanted to see, you know, can Leon handle this kind of a thing? And no, he couldn't. Belal, though, going back, Belal looked massive compared to Leon Edwards, who looked super skinny. And I mean, Leon's never been like thick, but like, man, Belal was jacked. I mean, I don't know what kind of supplementation program he's been on or anything, but I'm bet you this top dollar, baby, because it worked. So for Belal, what's next? I mean, the only real choice is Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think Shavkat, he's ranked 3. He doesn't have a really good win, though, that's like, wow, you beat this guy? Like, it's kind of been a round robin of Leon Edwards, Masvidal, who's not in the mix anymore, Colby Covington, and Kamaru Usman. Those 4 guys kind of hog the top 5, and then even like Gilbert Burns kind of got it. But now you got guys like him, like Belal mentioned these names. Like Belal was one of these names too, because he couldn't get into this thing. But you got him, you got Shavkat, you got Jack Della Maddalena and Ian Gary. You got these young bucks coming up. You know, Joaquin Buckley, who's now ranked 11. I'm looking at the rankings on my computer here. You know, you got all these young guys coming up, and it's like, man, these guys are begging for a way in. They want to get in, and they can't. So I at the graphic I threw up earlier, I liked the Shavkat fight, but Leon fight is out there. That's a possibility. Although he did say, yeah, give him 3 years, let him fight his way back up, kind of like a to Leon, because he made him fight his way back up after the eye poke, right? So there's that, and then there's the Usman fight, but Usman's on like a 3-fight losing streak, man. He's lost 2 to Leon at 170, and then obviously the 185 loss to Khamzat Chimaev on like 2 weeks' notice. So, I mean, you can say, oh, the Chimaev fight don't matter, and Leon Edwards was the champion, you know, and he was #1 pound for pound before that. But I still don't see like Kamaru Usman being the next guy they go with. I really think it's Shavkat Rakhmonov. I don't think you could deny him, even though Shavkat's best win is like a washed and old and almost dead Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. As for Leon, like, Ian Gary's the fight, man. That's the fun fight. That would be really cool to see. They go back to the UK at the end of the year, maybe. Ian Gary versus Leon Edwards, main event type deal, 5 rounds, title eliminator, that kind of a thing. That would be really fun to see. I think that that is the way to go. But yeah, overall, great performance from Belal Muhammad. Not very excited to see his next fight unless it's against like a Shavkat. I don't enjoy watching Belal Muhammad fight, and I'll be honest, he's a good fighter, but like, okay, so Muhammad Ali talked about this in his book, The Greatest in My Own Story. I don't have it here with me. I'll put the link to it in the description if you want to go buy it. It's actually a really good read. But he talked about like how he got a lot of criticism, and his criticism is a lot different from what Belal Muhammad gets. Like, Muhammad Ali's criticism was A, we're racist, B, you're Muslim, and then C, you're outspoken, so we don't like you. Like, Belal's just, people don't like him because he doesn't put on exciting fights, and I get that. I get that a lot. So Muhammad Ali talks about it, and he's like, you can't let the criticism hold you down. You can't really, you got to go out there and just keep sticking to your convictions. And you saw that with Muhammad Ali. And I mean, Belal Muhammad, he's 36. He probably doesn't have much longer in this sport, especially at welterweight. You know, that's the 36 is kind of a little bit old for the division. So, you know, Ali just stuck to his convictions and was like, hey, look, I'm the best in the world, and I'm here to prove it. Even after he was, like, exiled for not participating in the Vietnam War, you know, the whole Muhammad Ali story, he was dealing with people saying, oh, this guy's terrible, he's horrible, yada, yada, this and that. Belal Muhammad's not going through this kind of trash talk, but he still needs to stick by his convictions. So yeah, you can get that book in the link below. It's a really good book. You should check it out. Tommy Aspinall is legit. He said, Jon Jones, no offense, nothing against you. I just think I'm the best heavyweight in the world. And guess what? I do too. I think he's the best in the world. He's so good. He put away Curtis Blaydes in what, like a minute? Let me see what the official time on that was. Exactly a minute. And it was a great setup. So Curtis Blaydes I was gut-wrenched for Curtis Blaydes, man. I really was, because every time he gets to a certain point in his career, he's like, yeah, Curtis is about to peak. He's about to look really good. He drops the ball. It sucks. It really does. But Tom Aspinall is just that guy. He's legit. He's one of the best fighters in the world. And we saw that in him this weekend at UFC 304. So Curtis, again, he has a really good jab. He's a wrestler first, and I really wanted to see Tom Aspinall, like, more of him in this fight. Because Blaydes has a really good jab, but he has fantastic wrestling, and he can go the distance. And I wanted to see what Tom Aspinall looked like in round 3, and round 4, and round 5. We didn't get that. Instead, Curtis Blaydes got greedy. He threw a 1-2, and the jab snapped Tom Aspinall's head back. I had to think for a second. Had to snap Tom Aspinall's head back. So the very next exchange, you know, they have like a little intermediate thing and then another exchange, and Curtis Blaydes throws another 1-2, or he tries to. This time, Tom Aspinall slips to the inside of the jab, and he throws a lead left hook. Kind of catches Curtis dead to rights there. But as Curtis Blaydes' jab is thrown, he's not overextended, really. He's getting behind his shoulder. But Tom Aspinall comes with this wide, boom, right hand over the top of the jab and puts him down on the ground. A lot of people say, oh, he missed it. Yes, I've seen strikes hurt people, and there's nothing telling me that Curtis Blaydes was not hurt. Like, it could have grazed his temple and it knocked him out for all I know. I've seen that. The amount of fights we watch, guys, we should know by now, like, this kind of thing happens. Then ground and pound, and Curtis Blaydes is out. Great win for Tom Aspinall. He gets his last loss back, and I think that's what, his second loss that he avenged? Oh, so he's 15-3, so yeah. But since joining the UFC, he has the one loss to Curtis Blaydes, and that was the knee injury. But, like, he's beaten so many good names, man, since coming over from Cage Warriors. Arlovsky, he's beat Spivak, Alexander Volkov, which was a fantastic win in hindsight, Pavlovich, and now the rematch with Blaydes. I'm not going to mention the Tibera guy. But, yeah, I thought, you know, great. But we got Jon Jones as the real heavyweight champion. But I do think Tom Aspinall's the best heavyweight in the world, and I think he might beat Jon Jones, unless Jones takes some deep waters and we learn something about Tom Aspinall that we didn't know, like he has a horrible gas tank. But I don't see that, man. He came into this fight 277 pounds. Boy, he was huge. And he showed it too. Curtis looks so thin compared to Tom, and Curtis is a big dude. Great win. I need to see him versus Jon, and I don't think Jon fights him. I think Jon takes Stipe in November or whenever. Then I think he retires, rides off into the sunset. I don't think he wants anything to do with Tom Aspinall. And who can blame him, though, you know? Who can really blame him? Because, yeah, I get it. Paddy Pimblett got his big finish, and now he's, boom, ranked. As insufferable as Paddy Pimblett is, he got the win. He did what he was supposed to. That doesn't mean Bobby Green didn't have a brain-dead game plan shooting on him like he did, for sure. But Paddy Pimblett beat Bobby Green. or King Green. I'm sorry, I'm calling King the wrong name. That's my apologies. Regardless, Paddy looked massive against King Green. Like, Green's you know, he's a decent size for a lightweight, but Paddy was just taller and way thicker, like kind of like Belal and Belal Muhammad and Leon Edwards. Like, he was just huge, and King Green had a hard time getting in on Paddy Pimblett, and Paddy was throwing these low kicks and chopping away at the legs, and we know Bobby Green can't check low kicks. Who was it that beat him with that? Who was it? Jalen Turner smashed his legs and then knocked him out. Drew Dober did the same thing to him, you know. Green is a good fighter, but he's always a good test. He's always on the verge of winning and not winning. So, you know, I get it. But Paddy, he did go in there and he kicked the legs. He was kicking the body. Things that he does normally. This is what we expect from Paddy Pimblett. And if you can mess with the leg kicks, you got a good shot. And King Green did not have a good shot, apparently. And when I say that, I mean he shoots a takedown on the grappling wizard of Paddy Pimblett. Crazy, right? Paddy goes into, I think it was a guillotine, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. Then he transitions over to a triangle, which was super slick. Go back and watch that transition because it was fantastic. And he gets him in a triangle, adjusted a little bit by scooping under the legs. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then he sinks in an armbar, and the ref's like, hey, wait, hold on. Is he awake? Bobby Green was not awake, breaking his arm while he was asleep. Whew. I hope his arm ain't broken. It was really hyperextended, though, like far out. I was like, not again, please don't break it. Oh, it's terrible. But Paddy got the win. He's top ranked now, and he called out Renato Moicano. I kind of like that. Moicano's a grappler, and he's going to go in there and try and grapple Paddy Pimblett. You'd be wild to do that. But if there's anybody that's going to do it, it's going to be Money Moicano. He's going to go in there and do that. We'll see, though. They got to book that fight. That's a fun one. It really is. But, like, who else is there for Paddy Pimblett? I mean, I'm going to go look at lightweight rankings. I mean, that's rough. You got Jalen Turner's going to blitz him. Benoit Saint-Denis, you don't want that. Rafael Dos Anjos would be a fun fight for him. I don't see, like, Dan Hooker or anybody like that fighting him. Put him against Max Holloway. Put him in 9th ranked Max Holloway. You want top 10, Paddy? Let's fight Max Holloway. Let's go. Paddy would turn that down. I think that was the last fight on Paddy Pimblett's contract, though. He might be taking his talents elsewhere. He's ranked now. He's going out on a high note in the UK. Go back to Cage Warriors or go to PFL, who's offered $1 million prizes. Paddy's about the money. Let's not mistake it. He's a fighter, but he is about his money. And he's been about his money for a long time, too. So we could have very well seen the last of Paddy Pimblett in the UFC for this time. Speaking of last time we'll see somebody in the UFC for this time. So long, Muhammad Mokaev. Good riddance. He fought Manel Kape, who fought exactly like Manel Kape fights. Boring. Kape broke his toe. And, you know, fought the same way anyway. Mokaev fought scared. He didn't wrestle quite as much because they told him, look, if you go out there and you just wrestle all night, we might not re-sign you. And then they didn't re-sign. He did that kind of, and they didn't re-sign him anyway. He's 23. He did not look ready for the UFC. He's held people down consistently since he's got here without the offensive output. And, you know, that's no reason to cut somebody. But I'm going to pull up his record right now, guys. Hold on. But the shenanigans beforehand, trying to fight Manel Kape, you know, at the weigh-ins like he did, didn't even do the ceremonial weigh, just rushing him and all that. It's drama, sure, but it's also a pain. Or, hey, Manel Kape, Muslim to Muslim, let's take a picture together, and he sucker punches him. That's not who you want to be in business with. Some rat behavior, to be honest with you. It's like, come on, dude, you got to be better than this. You've got to show a little bit more professionalism with this. So, like, I'm happy he's gone from the UFC, but, like, he is a very good fighter. He might be one of the best there. And with Alexandre Pantoja, like, looking for contenders, you could have put him against him and, like, let Pantoja just beat the brakes off of him. Now he's beat Kape, Alex Perez, Tim Elliott, Filio, Malcolm Gordon, Charles Johnson was a tough fight. Cody Durden was the guillotine. He's had some good finishes, but like they're not all great. I don't know how to explain it to you, but like there's just something about Muhammad Mokaev that's like he's not trying hard enough. He's terrified to break grips and strike with people while he's got them controlled on the ground. Like, young man, you're one of the best in the world. You have to figure out how to do this. And he can't seem to do it. So yeah, Dana White said he's not signed. The ranking panel's already got an email saying Mokaev will not be on this upcoming edition of the rankings because he is no longer with the UFC. They've elected not to re-sign him. I'm okay with it. 23, he might come back, he might not, Send him over to Rise and watch him fight Kyoji Horiguchi. That would be fun. But PFL doesn't have a bantamweight or a flyweight division. They're going to build that around Muhammad Mokaev? No, I don't think so. I just don't know, man. Like, it was weird because Mokaev was so hyped coming into this. Like, he had so much hype being the IMMAF, if I can say it right, world champion. I've interviewed him on my Path to the Olympics article where we talked about would he have fought in the Olympics if it was an option instead of going pro? Like, would he have put it off for a little while? He said, yeah, I absolutely would have. He is a generational talent, but, like, he's 23 and he can't seem to be put together this fighting style. And it's weird. It sucks because I do want to like him, and I just can't because he's got this crappy attitude. Matchmaker said they hate dealing with him, and I get it, So, see ya, I guess. You're not that fun of a fighter. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of sucked, really, because he's one of the best, and the UFC's the best, right? Best fighting the best. And it's very clear that the UFC's not a MMA organization. They're a kickboxing or Muay Thai organization that permits wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So, yeah. Gregory Robocop Rodriguez beat Christian Leroy Duncan via unanimous decision. Kind of a one-sided beatdown. Arnold Allen put it on Giga Chikadze. Again, Giga Chikadze looks great in the first round, and then he fades, and Arnold Allen, who can't cut the ring off for love nor money, apparently, just chase Chikadze around, and apparently Chikadze on the back foot just couldn't handle it, and it worked well for Arnold Allen as he started to run away with the fight even more. Nathaniel Wood beat Daniel Pineda. Had some great footwork from Nathaniel Wood in here. Just creating angles, exiting at an angle. Everything you want to see from Nathaniel Wood. He's a fun fighter. 20-6. He's been up and down, I believe, in the UFC. Yeah, 8-3. He lost to Nemov, Casey Kenney, and then John Dotson, which that's a tall task for somebody coming into the UFC. Very wow. Nathaniel Wood has been in since 2018. Good Lord, it's been forever. He's not even a prospect anymore. That's his nickname, isn't it? The Prospect? Bruno Brazil upset Molly McCann in front of everybody. Just kind of beat up on her. Jake Haley snaps his 2-fight losing streak. Beats Callan Logren, and I can't stand him, so I'm happy Jake Hadley won. Mokaev got the win. Oban Elliott beat Preston Parsons. Modestas Bukauskas. It's great to see him make his comeback, because after that Khalil Roundtree loss, the side kick to the knee, he had to fight his way back. Cage Warriors comes back, beats Pedro Zach-Palga, loses to Vitor Petrino, but gets a win over Prachnio. So happy to see him get a win. Sam Patterson, arm triangle win over Kleber Crosby, Mick Parkin, and Lucas Bresky. He beat Mick Parkin won, and then Shauna Bannon beat Alice Ardalian, and split decision. I mean, I'm not surprised. So, overall, great night of fights. They had the 7 decisions in a row, and like the RoboCop one wasn't bad. Arnold Allen was okay, I guess. My expectations on Arnold Allen were a bit tempered, but overall, it was good. Another night of fights in the books, right? Belal Muhammad showed a new level of wrestling, and I thought that was the standout of the thing. And obviously, he's the new champion now, so it's definitely the standout. Cage wrestling is the meta right now, and there's these Dagestanis, these Russians that are great at it. Khamzat Chimaev, for example, is fantastic at it. And in this film study, we do talk about Khamzat Chimaev's wrestling. We talk about his striking approaches and all of that. That's something you should check out, because we talk in depth the real ins and outs of the mechanics of that, and it's a really fun piece. You should check it out.